No, there we go. Shut Up and Sing, Cody Canada and The Departed, featuring Caitlin Butts, Todd Snyder. That one just came out here, like 2 days ago, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Great new tune. And Cody's on the podcast today. We finally convinced you to come on. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I wasn't very busy today.
I'm kidding.
We must have been a slow day.
I
actually had two
doing this,
guys
man.
like us.
I had gigs. I actually had 2 gigs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they got canceled, I heard, right?
Yeah, I had 2 Oklahoma shows, and Arkansas is still happening. I'm leaving late tonight. But yeah, we if the COVID rules aren't in place, we're not snobs, but I'm not going to go somewhere where everybody's huffing and puffing over each other.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm with you on that. Like, there's a show here in Iowa on New Year's, and it's like, it was just blatant, a couple hundred people inside, like no rules in place, and it's like, there's a line, and that's past it by a good measure. Like, so
it's tough to navigate, but everybody's got to use some sense, and like, there's got to be a level of personal responsibility with the whole thing too,
Right.
So
yeah, there does, and then we didn't have any shows for 4 months, and I sit right here on this couch and did Zoom shows, which were great. I didn't have a problem with them, but I missed being out. And I did my first one very reluctantly because I was I was worried. I have elderly parents and in-laws, and we have the School of Rock down here, and if somebody gets sick, then we're shut down completely, and if we're irresponsible. So I don't know. It's just I felt guilty for doing my first show, but I realized, that's not really on me. If they make everybody wear a mask, then I'm going to do a show. So it's not that hard. It's just it'd be nice to get everybody complains about this and that. It's like, if we just do what we're supposed to do, we can get back to normal.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, nobody likes wearing masks. Like, I can't wait to put my mask on, but it's like, to complain about it, like, if that's all you have to do and you get to watch a show, like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I actually, I live in a relatively small town, I guess. It used to be smaller, but New Braunfels, Texas. And, I'm a very social person, I love talking to folks, going to the grocery store. But sometimes, I have to allow 45 minutes or an hour, because I know I'm going to run into people. But putting a mask on and putting the hair in the hood is, I can be a ninja. I can go in and out of that grocery store. Be done with it.
Nobody even know. Sneaky. That's funny.
That reminds me.
Let's talk a bit about this new song.
Sorry. I was going to say, that reminds me, we're talking to a living legend right now.
Oh.
And that's just,
right.
I forget that sometimes.
Oh.
It's just like a normal conversation. It's like, that's right. You are an absolute legend of the Red Dirt music community. It's like, holy shit. So thank you for coming on. We haven't thanked you yet. So thank you. I've looked forward to this ever since it was started being in the works. So
thank you.
Looking forward to it.
I appreciate the accolades. It's nice to hear those things. It's very strange to hear those things.
You got to get used to it by now.
No, I don't think I'm ever going to get used to it. I'm not really built that way. I have another friend, musician here in New Braunfels, Randy Rogers. Y'all know Randy, and he said, this has been a few years ago. He's like, man, let's go to Green Hall, and I live right down the street. Let's go to Green Hall and get a beer. It's like, well, first of all, it's not even noon, and second of all, I don't really want to do that. And Randy said, man, I have to go where people can see me. He's like, man, I don't. I've done tours with Randy, and he'll want to go to the brightest bar in town. It's like, I want to go somewhere where you have to go downstairs and you can barely see. It's so dark, That's the kind of
And you got that hood up and the mask, right?
Yeah. I like to be kind of, especially after shows and stuff like that. Of course, right now I'd do anything. I'd go publicly get drunk at an Applebee's restaurant right now if I could. if I knew that I could be around people having fun again.
Yeah, it was all you can eat appetizers to get you.
I did get kicked out of an Applebee's bar one time. That's pretty low. It's my Oklahoma roots showing through there.
You have to tell the story now. I mean, everybody enjoys
Can you tell the
getting
story?
kicked out of an Applebee's story. Yeah, if you're allowed to tell it. I don't know.
No, I think I'm allowed to tell anything. I don't have any kind of contracts with anybody. Just friendships. Yeah, it was Chris Knight and Charlie Robinson and I. We were in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and the place we were playing was really a theater that, I mean, they just kind of had the day liquor license, so they didn't want to blow it by having the musicians after hours. So there was one place in town that I knew was going to be a pain in the ass to sit down and talk and hang out with friends, and my dad was there. And so we ended up going to Applebee's, like the Okies that we are. And Charlie, he loves to get whiskey drunk, and I like to get whiskey drunk with him too, you know. But I mean, God, he's twice the size as I am. Big dude, you know, so he can put down a lot of bourbon, and we cheers, and he was excited and, you know, so Irish, and he just slammed that glass, and the guy goes, "Hey, don't slam your glass in my restaurant." And he goes, "Restaurant? Fucking hardly a restaurant." He goes, "This is an Applebee's in Southern Oklahoma. This is a shithole."
Jesus.
Like, no. Charlie, you just blew our only chance to get drunk tonight. And the guy got in Charlie's face and like, "You guys are getting kicked out." I was like, "Charlie, I'm not defending you on this one, buddy. I'm going to the bus." And
so it wasn't really you getting kicked out. It was Charlie Robeson getting kicked out.
Charlie got us all kicked out.
Got it. Yeah. Guilty
Chris,
by association.
Yeah. Chris Knight wasn't in there. Chris, on that, we did a couple of those runs with Chris, and he's so quiet. You know, he's a good guy. You know, we're good buddies, and but he's so quiet. You know, and he would never go into the after parties with me and Charlie because Charlie was, I mean, it was almost every night. Charlie, there was some kind of confrontation where Charlie was either pissing off the bar owner or pissing off somebody's boyfriend, you know?
Oh, boy.
Wow.
We all know people like that. I was very intrigued to see how Chris Knight was falling into this equation of getting kicked out of
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We had him on. He's, like you said, he's very soft-spoken and, like, not the type that would get kicked out of an Applebee's.
You know, though,
like anyway.
There's no way in hell I'd fuck with that guy. There's no way.
No.
There's no way.
I don't think anybody would or should.
And there was another night, that same tour, I was in Fayetteville, Arkansas with those two. And we went back in, and there was a couple of disgruntled dudes in there. And they were, I felt like they were just pissed because we were the musicians, you know. And then I realized that Charlie was hitting on both of their girls, and
that'll do it.
And yeah, and very blatantly, and you know, on purpose, and in your face, Charlie. And those guys, I walked up and said hi to the dudes, and they didn't care. They were kicking your buddy's ass. And then Chris was behind me, and he goes, "Good luck." That's what I knew. I was like, Chris is quiet, but you know, when it comes to his pals, I bet he would finish the job.
I bet he would. Yeah, no shit. Well, maybe if you want, we can talk about this new tune that came out the other day. I don't know if everybody's obviously had a chance to hear it now. We played that one first, but what was kind of the story about, you know, as far as how that one came together, rounding up the features on it and getting to the process of releasing it? When did you write it and whatnot?
You know, I haven't been a fan of politics, no matter which side. My favorite politics are when it's boring and I don't know what's going on.
You and me both.
And I don't have to watch the news. Like, I don't want to watch the news.
No.
And about a year ago, we were up in Steamboat, and I kept turning eventually just turned my phone off because I was getting updates. It's like, well, are we, I'm in Steamboat, Colorado, having fun. We're about to go to war with Iran, you know? And so I was like, there ain't nothing I can do about it. I might as well be skiing, hanging out with my family if it's going to happen. But just, I don't know, I guess it's getting older. And, I mean, I wasn't even registered to vote until 2016. Wow. And, just because I never thought it was really that, I don't know, I guess it just didn't matter to me. I figured that the people that were in charge and I just figured everybody else would do the right thing. I didn't want to get too involved in it because it took up too much of my time. I'm that way with sports. It's like I like I would like to get into sports, but it just takes too much time away from what I do for a living, you know. And
too much real estate in your brain too.
yeah, and I need to keep that room open, you know. And so just when I just started seeing lies and bullshit and, I mean, obvious lying, and then being busted for it, not admitting it, I was like, you know what? These are the people that I avoid in my everyday life. Not just saying about the main guy, but just everybody involved. And so, of course, when the pandemic started, I was doing a lot of Facebook shows for one reason, because I know what it's like to be isolated and depressed. And I knew that there was a lot of people out there. I mean, that was my main concern. It's like when all this goes down, it's like we need to keep tabs on the people that have depression and the people that are lonely, you know, because this is going to make it worse, a lot worse. On top of that, you have the fear of the unknown. And then on top of that, you have politics that just seem to be burning out of control. And I started doing Facebook shows on Wednesdays, making a big deal about it and dressing up the house behind me and getting the kids involved and just so everybody to smile. Well, then it got to the point where I was doing it to pay my band, you know, and then also doing it to keep my school open to pay my instructors. So I started doing the tip jars and stuff again. And I didn't want to do that, but I also we didn't want to file for unemployment because we're fighters, you know? And, so when everything happened with George Floyd is when it started happening. I could not believe what I was watching. I was doing these Zoom shows just like this. And over here, I'd have my phone on a big stand so I could watch it just in case something happened. It's like, you know, I live right by Austin and San Antonio. I was like, I need to keep my eye on things. And then a few times I had voiced my opinion on it. And the real reason this song happened is the first song, Hard As It Seems, came out. And I had my phone on the dash of my truck driving through Green, Texas, like I always do, coming home. And a lady stepped out in front of me with a sign that said honk for Trump. Well, she stepped out in front of my truck going 30 miles an hour, and I had to slam on the brakes with my kids in the car. But I had the dash cam going, and I said, "Get out of the way, please." And she leaned over the hood of my truck with that honk sign, and I rolled down the window. I was like, "Get the fuck out of my way. I almost ran you over." And she's like holding the sign. And I told her, I was like, you know, fuck your sign, fuck you, and fuck him. You know, I mean, I almost ran you over because of your political cause, you know, and on accident. And I didn't realize I was so mad at that one person that I kind of looked over and was like, oh shit, my camera's on. And I was live. And not that I would, you know, I wouldn't deny any of it, but I just looked at the camera and I said, sorry that I got so upset. And I told them, you know, what just happened. And I said, but I mean, that's how I feel. I said, I'm not going to hide how I feel. I mean, everybody gets to voice their opinion, whether you like it or not. I don't like most of the people that are against this song. I don't like their opinion, but I want to listen to it to a certain point till it turns to arguing. And so there was a lady here in town that secretly was going to cancel me, and I didn't even know what that was. My wife and I thought I was going to get whacked at an Italian restaurant, and I didn't know what cancel meant. And so we found out that she worked for the bank that we'd been banking with, 6 accounts for 18 years. So we went in and canceled our account and moved to a local bank. And it just kind of started getting dirty because I had my opinion. It's like you can march all over town, have your parades all over town, but if I say one thing about it, then I'm a goddamn communist. You know, I can't say, well, I don't really like this. You know, I mean, and I bet that night when I played songs, I bet I was told to shut up and sing 50 times. And to the point where I just like, okay, good night, I'm done. And and then I was watching the news one morning and Sheryl Crow was on there, and I'm a big fan of hers. And she had said, you know how many times I've heard shut up and sing. And then of course I started digging into it. And then Isbell's the same way. And I love Isbell. And of course, BJ Barham, we all know where he's at. And Shannon said, "You're so angry." My wife said, "You're so angry about this. Just why don't you write about it?" So I thought, well, that's perfect, So my opinion of what's happening, with the chorus being, I can't give you my opinion, so I might as well say, shut up and sing. Okay, I'll shut up and sing. I'm going to sing my opinion. But really? I'd always wanted. I've been a Todd Snider fan since '94. Or not in '93. I was actually still at my dad's house, and I saw him on Conan O'Brien. Never heard of him. I realized later into that I'd heard of his songs because Chestnut cut a couple of songs, and I got the Stillwater, and Mike McClure gave me the very first Todd Snider record, and I remember Mike going, "I don't know if you'll like it. It might be too folky for you." And I think I was a different person back then, and that changed me. And I've been a fan ever since, doing shows with Todd and doing his songs, and I always wanted to write one with him, and I actually still have one I've been hanging on to for like 8 years because he keeps saying, "Don't finish it, don't finish it." And I had sent him an email and said, this is the content, and I would love for you to do these certain parts. And but if you don't want to, don't do it. I'm not going to be upset. I understand that it's a very sensitive subject. And of course, Todd's response was, "Fuck yeah, man, I'm in." And then Caitlin, she was a no-brainer anyway. And I had reached out to her, and she's a huge Todd fan, and she's she's an Okie girl, so she's been, it's embarrassing to say, but she's been coming to my show since she was a child, and so it was easy to get her on board. And the end product, man, I was really, really proud of. I've done several songs throughout the years, and I just kind of forget about them. But this one stuck with me. I don't know if it's because I'm so done with everything. It's just like every morning I turn the TV on, I was like, can we please move on? Right. Can we please get back to normalcy? And can we please smile again? Yeah. Because every day it's fear and bullshit. And no matter what side, no matter what color, red or white, red or blue, it doesn't matter, and there's just so much shit. And I told my wife again, who is my advisor, I told her, I said, I'm done. After this song, I'm done. I'm not going to write a political song. I've said my point twice. I said it 4 years ago, and I told everybody what I thought was coming. And it happened. It's upon us. So I wrote another one. And then the other night I smoked a Laffy joint and started picking around on a song, and I had text her. I was like, "Okay, one more. I'm going to do one more and I'm done." But that's just it. Even if I was on, and I'm trying to be sensitive about this, if I was on the other side, I'd be writing a song about it. That's the truth. If I was on the other side, and then, the people that are telling me it's bullshit would be like, "Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, brother. That's good. Right. I'm with you, brother."
I like it if I agree with it, but
that's the thing.
That's the worst argument, though, is when people get pissed off and say, "Well, I'm never going to listen to whoever. I'm never going to listen to Cody Canada again." It's like, well, you probably never liked the fucking tunes that much anyway. If that's really like. You know what I mean?
You don't have you appreciation for the art.
Yeah, you can just disconnect from somebody just like that over some bullshit.
Well, you're not a fan. Bullshit. I went to see. I'd screw the whole system up, but I'd show you this poster I have on my wall. It's Pearl Jam, and it's Pearl Jam in Houston, and it's a monkey wearing a cowboy hat with Dick Cheney as a bumblebee in his ear. And that was back in the Bush administration, and. I was so much younger then, and whatever Eddie said, I was just like, hell yes, yes. And then he got on stage that night in Houston, and I booed him because I didn't want to hear it. And I understand where some people come from. It's like I don't want to hear your explanation of the song. Right. I want to hear the song, and I walked out of there like almost embarrassed as a Pearl Jam fan. It's like I just booed him. Not embarrassed because of what he's saying, but I was just like, I shouldn't have done that. Right. But I get it. People don't want to people get away to music to get away from stuff like that. I greatly understand that. But, Steve Earle, he's another one. I saw a show of his almost 20 years ago. And I mean, it really, I felt like that guy. I was like, man, can you just play Copperhead Road, please?
Oh, no.
And that's how I felt. But I didn't go back and listen to him.
50 times. Yeah.
I didn't go back and listen for, a year or two. And then he came out with another record. It's like, I'm back on board. It's just one song. It was just one song that he did that I didn't agree with. It doesn't mean that I have to completely break my ties with a person that I feel like I owe, my early influences to.
Right.
Yeah. You said I was actually had it written down. Like it was an interview. I believe it was the Daily Times. I read this article. I think it was 2019 or 20. I don't know. I don't remember. But the exact quote I had written down was, "I'm not a guy to make a song up, whether it's about love or anger or whatever. I've got to experience it and therapeutically get it out of my system."
Yeah.
And that's like, there's nothing right as a listener, regardless of, like you said, regardless of however you're going to perceive the message, whatever it may be, like you have to appreciate the art and just that, like you getting that out of your system, whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote one called When Will It End a long time ago. Just about the Bush administration and the war that we were going on. I wasn't against him at all. I was against people dying. I was against, I just had a kid. And, when you have a kid, I mean, things start to change for you, and I got to thinking about all these soldiers that were over there fighting a war that some of them probably didn't even know what it was about. And some of them are dying, and those kids are dadless, and that's why I wrote that tune. It's like, what are we fighting for here? What is this one human fighting for? And it wasn't anything against any higher office holder. It was just like, what the fuck is happening right now? I just don't want, hell, I can't even step on a spider. I don't like death. And, but when I put that song on the live at Kane's, the Ragweed record, because I didn't want to, I wanted to get it over with then, because I didn't plan on singing it forever. And that's the same with this thing. I'm not going to sing this song forever. This is not going to be one I'm going to be playing when I'm 60. I don't think. Hopefully not. Hopefully I don't have to,
Exactly.
But it just, it's therapeutic. You get it out and you move on, and then you go to the next one. I struggle all the time with trying to find a subject to write about that I haven't written about before, or trying to make it sound new. Most songs are love songs. Most of the ones I listen to are, whether it's an upbeat one, a sexy rock and roll song, or a sensitive, real love song, and there's only so many ways you can come at that subject, but I'm an observational writer. And when you have the world burning around you, that's what you got to write about, It makes me feel better.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I just landed in a safety net to write a song like that and get it off my chest, After I wrote that song, I had 2 or 3 days of really good sleep.
Relief.
Yeah.
You'd said, like, in that, just what you just said there, like releasing and moving on to the next one, made me think of, you had said, I believe in that same article, like you were talking about how one of your new vehicles or something didn't have a CD player. And so you were kind of taking this approach now where you're like releasing singles rather than a full record. Is that accurate, or did I miss?
No, that's accurate. I've been talking about it for years. Dierks Bentley has been a pal of ours for a very long time. And probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, somewhere around there, I'd asked him what the new record's going to be like. And he said, well, I don't really have a full record yet, but before long it's going to be singles. And I didn't believe that, because I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
Because I love to pick up a record and open it up and see who produced it, who played this. It's like knowing the band and knowing that there's not a B3 player live in this band, and then opening up the record and saying, oh, it's that guy. And it was a guest appearance that was uncredited. And I love that stuff, and I didn't want to believe it. And then I'd heard it again through a couple of other people down here in Texas. And then back in January, this goes back to Sheryl Crow again. I opened up a magazine on an airplane. Remember when we used to do that? Get on an airplane?
Yeah.
And I opened up.
We're young, man.
Just airplanes. I feel like I haven't been on one in years. But I opened up this magazine, and it was her, and she said, "I'm done recording." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm about to lose one of my favorites." And then I read into it and said, "I'm done recording albums because it's a waste of material, and people's attention span it's smaller these days. It's nothing negative. Just how it is. There's so much technology flying at us all the time,
Dude, it's streaming and stuff. People like the fact that they can just click on playlists and listen to Cody Canada and then follow that up with, Turnpike or Tyler Childers or whatever it is, right? Mike, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that really solidified it for me because I've been thinking about it because I'd bought that truck and the CD player wasn't in it, and people still, come to my shows and will give me a CD and it's like, hey, listen to this and see what you think. And then now I can't because that was the only CD player I had.
Yeah.
But I also have an office here in New Braunfels, a shop, a studio and stuff. And against one wall is probably 200,000 ragweed CDs. And then on the other smaller wall is 10 years of Departed CDs. The vinyl go fast. The vinyls are out. Yeah. I mean, I'm always out of that. I'm actually out of ragweed vinyls, and I can't reorder them because the record label owns those recordings, so I can't have that, which is bullshit. But I'm not going to fight it. Yeah. I've watched everybody else fight it and they lose. Why would I do it? But I felt like I should let's dive into the singles and see what happens. Reckless Kelly did Pennsylvania Avenue a good 10 years ago. And it did good for them. That was 10 years ago. I was like, well, now I can do it. And I know we're going to lose the B-sides and the deep tracks doing this move. And I might go back one day to doing a full record. But right now it motivates me. We recorded Hard As It Seems on the bus. Our drummer lives in Ada, Oklahoma, where the Boo Hatch studio is, Mike McClure. And I did a click track and recorded an acoustic, just me and an acoustic guitar, and I sent it to McClure. And my drummer, Eric, put the drums on there. And then they sent it back to us. And Brian Kinsey, my tour manager for 18 years now, he's sound technician as well. And we put my amp in one room of the bus and Plato's bass in the front room. And we recorded the vocals in the bathroom. And I sent it to the guy that we did our last record with, Pat Mansky. I'll always work with him. And I sent it to him and said, "What do you think? What's it sound like?" And he goes, "It sounds really good. I don't want to know where you recorded it yet. I want you to re-record. I want you to re-record the vocals. But you need re-record the vocals with this kind of microphone." So we did that. Sent it to him, and he goes, "Okay, tell me." He's like, "We did it on the bus." And he goes, "Dude, I knew it. And he goes, "But the thing is cool. You can barely tell." So then when he mixed it and mastered it and put some effects on it, it's just like we were in his studio doing it. And
no shit.
I told him, and it cost me $200. And then I called all the, I don't want to sound like a cheap ass, but it sounded like we're burning up the highway right now. Yeah. And I told him, I said, I'm going to send this to my radio DJ friends. So the very first person I'd sent it to was Jeremy at XM. And I said, "Hey, my wife and I are having a debate. Should I hire somebody? It's going to cost a lot of money to promote a single. Should I hire somebody, or should I send it to all my friends? I've been in the business for 26 years now." Right. And he said, "Send it to all your friends, just like you just sent it to me. And if they play it, they play it. If they don't, they don't. Don't waste your money. You don't need to these days." He said, "You've paid your dues. You've worked hard." Right. And he goes, "I'll play it." And, and the thing is, I feel that once Satellite plays it, then other people pay attention and they'll play it. And then all my Texas friends started playing it. Then my buddy out in California started playing it. So then I was like, well, that's how I'm going to do it from now on.
Yeah. You're, like you said, you paid your dues. You're Cody Canada. Like, you shouldn't have, like, people are gonna pay attention to
and that goes back to the, like what you were talking about, even with like the CD thing. Like the good thing about, I mean, regardless of what you do, whether you release a full record or just those singles, like I feel like at least I kind of take pride in the fact that like this kind of music scene, like the Red Dirt, Americana, like this type of scene, like outside of the mainstream country music or, you know, mainstream world of music, the listeners and the fans really, like, first of all, like know what it takes to get artists up and down the road, as far as like buying a t-shirt at a show, you know, going to shows, buying vinyl records, like you said. And second of all, they really have an appreciation for the art and the music in a way that they want that physical, you know, like they want to buy a record, they want to buy a CD, you know, because they want to have that and hold it and like feel it, you know what I mean? It just seems a little, it's a little more of like, I guess an experience rather than just, you know, listening to whatever on Spotify, you know?
You know, I'll probably, we haven't even kicked it around. I'm trying to keep the cost as low as I can. And I would like to do, you know, like a single, Shut Up and Sing with Hard As It Seems on the other side, or Hard As It Seems with Shut Up and Sing being the B side, you know, because, you know, if I market it as Shut Up and Sing, then I'm going to have those people that don't want to buy it. But if I market it as, I don't know, there's so many, we're all learning how to fly again over here in the music business, you know?
Yeah. But that's just like the thing about it, like kind of where I was trying to go with that, and I kind of lost along the way. It was just like, you could go ahead and release absolutely anything, and you have that fan base, and you have those diehards out there who love your music so much and want to support you, that they're gonna support you no matter, you know, what you do, whether it be singles or a full record, right?
Yeah, and that's really awesome to reflect on. You know, all the years of after the show, going to the bar and having shots with folks, and or bringing somebody on the bus to twist a number, you know, and just stuff like, you know, bringing somebody up that's a local songwriter, you know, and I just feel like the support system is so awesome for what I've been doing. You know, when Ragweed split, I didn't have that. People were, I mean, I lost 50% of my fan base. But I understand why, because I didn't want to do the songs. I needed a break. I was mad because my band broke up and I couldn't stop that. You know, I was bucketing water out of a holy boat, you know, and I couldn't save that from sinking. And so I was butthurt, you know. I didn't want to do those. Those songs were my songs, but I didn't want to do them. And then once I started doing them again, I felt like I gained back, you know, half of the half. And but people have supported me. There's a lot of people that supported me through that. The first real Departed original record that not a lot of people liked. I liked half of it. It was my half. I don't want to sound like a cocky asshole, but that's just, I liked my half of it, you know, and the other dude that was singing the tunes, it was just so, it was like the opposite ends of magnets, you know, it didn't seem like it was fighting, the album was fighting itself. And
I get that.
Yeah, and you know, I have some New Braunfels, Texas is full of musicians and road crew and stuff. And I had a road crew guy from George Strait told me, he's like, after I regrouped and started doing my music again, my stuff from the old days, and he said, well, now that that's over, I can tell you how I really feel. That's okay. And he goes, that was a schizophrenic record. I didn't really care for it. Like, thanks. You know, I mean, I need to hear that from my pals, you know. But you're getting at, you know, I feel like the support from everybody is because we've all been together through, it sounds weird, but my career of music, I feel like there's a lot of people that I have in my life as family members that were fans from 98. Yeah. You know, a guy that was going to college in Stillwater that was sitting, what'd you say?
That I was 4.
I don't need any help reminding me how old I am, guys.
I was 2.
God, I'm getting old. Well, you missed a great decade, guys. You missed a great decade.
I'm sure I did.
I still listen to that stuff. I just was a little too green at that time.
My sister, she's 50. Oh, what? She's 56. I'm 44. So.
Oh wow.
She was jamming out Zeppelin and
Yeah.
And I miss Zeppelin. I didn't really actually like, oh, wow, Zeppelin until about 5 years ago because I missed it. I was so mad.
Me too.
I'm so upset that I missed that era, but I got to see the resurrection of rock and roll from Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Soundgarden and all that. I saw that as an angsty teenager, and I really think that being an angsty teenager listening to this stuff helped me carve my path of music, you know.
Yeah.
And my kids are like, oh, we missed the 90s.
Yeah.
You have a what?
Well, I have a whole nother tangent that I'd like to like go off of that with, but I think maybe we should get into the second song if you want.
Yeah.
Just given the fact of what our time's looking at here.
I apologize. I'll gabble.
No, that's fine. That's what we're here to do, man. That's what we're here to do.
We're here to talk.
I know we're loving it. But why don't we take a brief pause and you can. Rumor has it you're gonna play us a tune here on the show.
Absolutely.
If you wanna introduce the song and tell us what you're gonna play and maybe talk a bit about it, and then you can have at her.
That's a
you take the headphones off too, even if you need.
Yeah, if they're in the way.
It helps me. It helps me control the volume a little bit.
Okay.
This is a '66 Gibson J200. I got it in Nashville. And
what are the autographs on there?
Paul English, Willie
wow.
Nelson's drummer, and Willie.
Wow.
And
William Paul.
2010.
R.I.P.
This was right after I got to smoke a joint with these dudes.
Wow.
And you lived to tell the tale.
I did. And they autographed
legendary.
They autographed my oldest guitar that I own, and it basically became a house guitar after that. I was like, I'm not taking this on the road anymore.
Hell no. Hell no.
That thing's beautiful. Thanks for showing. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very cool.
So this one is my dad is my biggest hero. I love him with all my heart. He is I'm about to get. He lives in Oklahoma still. I'm about to get him down here. He's 74, I believe, and Vietnam veteran. Body beat to hell from war, and then oil field. You know, since Vietnam ended, and still working in the oil field. But this is off. I think the Soul Gravy Ragweed record. I think I don't know. There's a couple of albums that kind of jumbled together with lots of drinking back then. But I wrote a song called Suicide Blues about his best friend killed himself. My dad was so mad, wouldn't even go to his funeral, and I understand that. And so I wrote that song just kind of because my dad got drunk one night, and his way of grieving. He's like, I wonder how he did it. I was like, oh, Dad, I don't want to talk about that shit. And so he started going through the ways and making fun of it. He was so mad, he'd making fun of the dead best friend. I don't mean to laugh, but this is how my dad handles grief, right. I guess. And so I wrote that song, and years later, Stephen King picked it up, put it in a book, and I thought that was really crazy to me. I never thought that song would even be listened to by Stephen King. Well, then the other song was this one I'm about to play. This was the more sensitive side for my dad. The first verse is about his best buddy, Jim. The second verse is about a guy that taught me a lot of rock and roll riffs. He taught me pretty much everything I ever knew about Ted Nugent songs. And but I never thought I never thought that I could actually play those tunes, you know, and this dude did it. And being from Oklahoma, his drug of choice was meth, and it got the best of him. But and then the last part's just about just, you know, just being nice. It's called Pay. Well, my dad, he had a friend, and he was low down till the end. Everything he did, it came out wrong. No matter how hard he tried, he never cheated and he never lied. He had a shotgun in his hand when he died. Everybody's got their own way. Hey, tomorrow's another day. Make of it what you will. as you're climbing up your hill, but always be prepared to pay. Hey, hey. I knew a man, he had a guitar in his hand, taught me things that I never thought I'd know. But the pills and the crystal meth took him to his death. All he ever wanted was a song and a sing-along. Everybody's got their own way. Hey, tomorrow's another day. Make of it what you will as you're climbing up your hill. Always be prepared to pay. Hey, hey. Hey, don't forget where you're from. Stick to your guns. Always be good to your fellow man. You gotta bow your head and pray every single day. Life don't always turn out like you planned. Everybody's got their own way. Yeah, tomorrow's another day. Make of it what you will. Don't forget to get your thrills. Always be prepared to pay. Hey, hey, always be prepared to pay.
All right. Dude, thank you so much for playing that.
Thanks for doing it, man.
You got it. Yeah,
it's weird to clap on a Zoom call. But.
Yeah, I don't know. This is our fix of live music for, you know.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So Cody was just showing me this album that's coming out here on the 22nd, January 22nd. He's holding it up there.
Yeah.
The Years, is that what it's called?
Yeah, The Years. Is it backwards to y'all or?
No, we got it.
Okay. Yeah, the Years.
Yeah, The Years. Yeah, if you want to talk about that, that sounds awesome. You're just it sounds really, really cool coming out.
How cool is that, man?
It's it was recorded January 7th and 8th of 2020. I really think it was my fault that 2020 was such a shit show, because I had said that after this was recorded, I was like, man, this is going to be a good year for me. And I blew it for everybody.
Oh, no.
So John Dixon at Dixon Productions that does Steamboat Music Fest. I've been this last Steamboat, which would have been last week, would have been my 20th year up there. 2001, we started doing tributes to people, living legend tributes, and then there was a couple like we did a Towns Van Zandt, but they did everybody from. Oh man, I mean the first one was Billy Joe Shaver and then Guy Clark, and then they did the Robert O'Keefe one, which was released as a record, and so we did Bruce Robinson the year before mine. But John had been asking me for 3 years to do it, and I said, "There's no way I'm doing that. I'm not doing a tribute record." And I said, 40 years old at this point, somebody else, I don't deserve it. And he asked me again, and I said no. And then he sent Wade Bowen, my brother-in-law, to ask me, because in John's words, he was afraid I was going to tell him to fuck off, and which I would never do. I mean, John's the godfather of my children. I would never tell him that. I would be blunt with him, and I wouldn't be that extreme. But I said to Wade, I was like, well, I'll think about it. But so we did the Bruce Robinson, and then John came down the hallway, and before I could see he was going to ask me, and I could also see the look in his eye that he was prepared for no. And I said, before you ask me, yes, I'll do it, but I have rules. I don't want to do it, but I'll do it because you want to. And I said, but I don't want it to be something where everybody thinks that Ragweed's getting back together, because that ship is long gone, and I know there's a lot of people that want that thing to happen again, but I mean, it's when people bring it up, they get angry with me. It's like, yeah, why can't you guys just get along? It's like, well, man, are you going to remarry your ex-wife? You know, I mean, things happen that everybody doesn't need to know about, and it's just not going to happen. And I told John, I said, if we want to have a good time with this, let's just keep it Jeremy and I. And so he agreed to that. And before we knew it, we had like 35 artists sign up for it. It turned into a 2-day event. And I told John, when John said, would you like to make a record out of it? I said, absolutely. I would absolutely love for this to be a record, you know, for 2 reasons. I'd like to have it. I'd like to have it documented. And the other reason is, you know, I want something my kids can talk about. You know, my kids, I'm proud of my kids just as they are of me, you know, and just wanted something for them to have years down the line. And I didn't ask anybody, but I asked 2 people to be on it, and everybody else has signed up. I wanted Adam Hood, and I wanted BJ Barham from American Aquarium, and the rest, everybody else just kind of lined up. But it was 2 days of a lot of very draining, very emotional, and I don't like that kind of attention. But you know, I was asked 3 or 4 times, like, okay, I'll do it. And you know, the big plan that night at the end of the tribute day was to go back. You know, we had a show that night. We were going to go back to the room, Steamboat, and everybody partying. And we had the liquor piled up, and went to the local dispensaries, and we were ready to go. And by the time we got back to the room, the whole family was just so tired from an emotional day that we just went to bed, you know. But it's cool. It's got Reckless Kelly was the first single they did Fighting For. And Randy Rogers, Bruce Robinson, Courtney Patton, Doug Moreland, Stoney, BJ. Parker. Parker McCullum's the first one on there. Copper Chief. Copper Chief actually asked me to get up and sing with him. And a lady named Liz Foster, who used to be in the Trishas, she was kind of spearheading the whole thing. Okay. And she had lyrics for every song. And nobody asked for lyrics except me. I had to ask for the lyrics from all the songs. They got a kick out of that. I was reading the songs on stage, and
that's funny.
But quite the honor, quite awesome. Nice to be mentioned, you know. And I give John shit. You know, he canceled Steamboat this year. It's like I'm the only artist that had 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I guess. That's funny. But I hope, you know, like, I hope there's people, you know, especially people even younger than I am. I'm 24, and I obviously, like we were talking about before you played that song, with like, I was obviously too young to miss the years or to catch or at least the early years of Ragweed. And I hope that, like, you know, maybe through that record, you know, maybe like how many young Parker McCollum fans are there out there? Like, I hope maybe, right. You know, I hope maybe they'll listen to that and then like go digging back and listen to, you know, The Departed and Ragweed and like, you know, find some new stuff, because something that did that for me and kind of that tangent I was talking about before that I wanted to go on was like, when I read Josh Crutchmer's Red Dirt book, which you're obviously a pretty steady character in that book. And we had Josh on the podcast to talk about it. And I said this to him too, is just, especially some of those early ones, like I obviously wasn't old enough to experience those things, and I live in Alberta, Canada, so I'm not, you know, obviously like in the region, so I can't, you know, go to these shows and just find it organically. So, you know, his book really helped me like dig into that and like connect with it in an entirely different way, and like pretty much forced me, after reading about it, to go down the rabbit hole and listen to every Ragweed record and listen to all of your stuff with The Departed. Like, and like I said, I hope that this will maybe do that for somebody else. And I hope that book, you know, did the same for lots of others that it did for me.
You know, I'm really proud of that dude for writing that book. You know, he goes on the road with me. I mean, probably every 2 months he'll hop on the bus and ride for a week. You know, but I've known him. I mean, his book, you know, he talks about how we met. You know, right. And we've never lost contact with each other. You know, and we were on the bus in Stillwater at homecoming in Oklahoma State, and somebody had said, this needs to be documented, all this, especially from 94, when most of us saw this stuff unraveling. It was already there. The key players were there in Stillwater. Jimmy LaFave and Bob Childers and Skinner and the Red Dirt Rangers and all those dudes they were already there. But what we did, and my opinion, was took it aggressively further. We're like, well, we're going to do this. This is our kind of music. Bolin and I were playing that kind of music and we didn't even know it yet. And then we got to Stillwater and realized that, oh wow, we're not country players at all. We're folk guys. And then somebody said this needs to be documented, and Coop from the Red Dirt Rangers pointed right at Crutchman. He goes, Mr. New York City over there should probably do it since he's a little smarter than the rest of us. And he did it, man. He turned it around in a little over a year. And God, I'm so proud of the guy. I bet I got 40 of those books here at the house, different versions,
Yeah.
Right.
Because he has a version for highlighting every artist, right?
Yeah, he's got a Wade version and a Reckless version, and they don't give you better beer than Bud Light up there in Canada.
Well, is
that what you got? Is Bud Light?
Yeah, I like Bud Light. What's wrong with Bud Light? Bud Light no good.
I'm just
Don't even Boone beer.
We had Aaron Enderlin on last show and we were talking shit about Fireball. So let's not blow us a potential sponsor with Bud Light.
No, I'm kidding. People give me shit about. I drink Coors Light. Like, why are you drinking that mountain goat piss? Like, you're gonna pick on my songs, now you're picking on my beer.
I got Banquet in there. I got the real.
Yeah, we can't get Banquet up here in
You
Canada
can't
anymore.
really?
No. Well, they had it. So we never had it like all like
just as
long as I can remember until I was about 20 or 21. It was always like whenever I'd come down to the States, like Montana or something, you just load up with a bunch of Banquet and bring it back, and that was like your glorious little treat you'd get to have for a couple weeks. But then they started selling it up here like a few years ago, and then now just this past year, so like as of 2020, they started brewing it up here. Like before it was all imported, I'm pretty sure, and then now they started brewing it up here, and they call it Coors Original. And in my opinion, it does not fucking taste the same.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can see that.
I mean, you can still get it, but it's just like I don't think it's as good. They'll tell you it's the same, and lots of people say it's the same. I don't know. It's not the same. I don't think
Guinness tastes better in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that.
That's also a fact.
Yeah, it is a known fact.
Yeah, absolutely. It's strange how that works, but yeah. So I am. Yeah, I like Bud Light though. Bud Light's kind of my go-to, I guess.
Yeah, I just usually shit. I'll drink anything.
It is early for beers, but hey, we got the Packers game on in a couple hours, so it's like.
I had a lot of coffee, so I need to level it back out.
Right. It's Saturday. Yeah. It's Saturday.
That's right.
NFL playoffs are on today. So.
Saturday during a pandemic. It's not like you have anything else pressing to do outside.
I got nothing going on. This is literally the highlight of my day. So why don't I enjoy it?
Right. I think this is a good segue to rapid fires. Kind of goofy.
I have one.
Goofy. Okay.
I have one before we do the rapid fires. That's going to kind of be the intro to the rapid fires because we have a Patreon, and we ask whenever we have a guest coming up, we ask our patrons to fire off some questions for our guests if they pay for whatever tier. And so we had one particular question that I really enjoyed come in that I thought you might get a laugh out of at least. So this one's from, shout out to Mark Sandlin for the question. And he says, Cody's kids have quite possibly the coolest names ever created in Dirks Cobain and Willie Vedder, Canada. How long did it take to persuade Shannon to go along with said names?
Say hi, buddy. There's Willie right there.
Hey, there you go.
Say hi. Well, that's really funny that you asked, Mark, because I didn't have to persuade her at all. It was her idea.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Willie and Dirks both, if they were going to be girls, they were going to be Leanne. That was because of Leanne Womack.
I was going to say Rhymes or Womack.
Womack, yeah. We've collaborated for years and been pals, and then Shannon wanted Cody with an I if it was a girl, which I was against.
Right. That'd be odd.
It's very sweet, but And then with Dirk's, man, we had a Shooter was one.
Ooh.
And then I remember walking the hallways of the House of Blues in New Orleans and thinking, how am I going to tell her that I think Dirk's is a good name? I don't think she's going to go for it. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. And then I walk in the halls and the phone rings and it's her. And she goes, hey, what about Dirk's? I was like, okay, bullshit. I was just thinking that.
It was meant to be.
I think, yeah, it was meant to be. And the Cobain was easy. That was Shannon's idea. And of course, we said that with the next baby, if it is a boy, there's no other way around it. It's going to be Willie after Willie Braun. And I think once again, I'm probably I'm guessing at this point, but I'm pretty sure it was her. Shannon, you still around? No. I'm pretty sure Vetter was her idea too. But it was also just, and we, Weiland was going to be a middle name, so after Scott Weiland. But one of my best pals had a kid in between our kids, and he named him Braden Weiland. But it was pretty easy to name those dudes, and when we first started the School of Rock down here, they started hanging out with this kid named Marshall. It's like, that's a cool name. You never hear Marshall. And so I said, Marshall, what's your middle name? He went, Tucker. So your name's Marshall Tucker?
No way.
Marshall Tucker.
Marshall. I said Marshall Tucker, Dirk Cobain, and Willie Vetter. You guys really need to start a band.
Yeah.
Yeah. No shit. That's funny.
Next to Marshall Tucker with some grunge sound there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
funny.
Well, yeah, let's kick them off there.
Yeah,
Mike,
so
have at it.
This is going to be an odd one, and I'm not sure if you're going to like this question, but what's your favorite alternate verse to Boys from Oklahoma?
Oh, man. There was, back to the Okies, this guy named Bob Wiles that was in the Red Dirt Rangers for a long time until his hands, he got carpal tunnel so bad he had to quit. His wife, one night, I had 10 Okies on stage and probably a couple of Texans singing that song at Kane's Ballroom. And she just pushed through the crowd and sang a verse about the girls from Oklahoma keeping them Okie boys in line. And I can't remember all of it, but that was probably one of my favorite ones. Randy Rogers, The Reefer Smells Like Cheese is oddly funny.
Like, who started that whole thing of, like, how did that even start where it became a thing to just write add-on verses?
It was actually me. Tom Skinner, who I'm sure you guys know his name.
Yes.
He got up one time and did a verse about Kansas, about smoking some weed from Kansas, and it ended with we're not in Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. That's how high he was. And so after that, I was like, well, that's a good idea. It's just kind of on the spot, So I just tell everybody, like that one video of everybody doing it.
Right. Yeah.
20 years
ago.
And
Wade and all those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So that day, we called everybody and said, hey, we're doing this. I would like for you guys to be a part of it for two reasons. For one, it's going to be a hell of a party. And the other reasons is, you're all musicians and we're helping each other out. And maybe the record label will see something they like, and but everybody has to make up a verse. And then people were like, well, what verse should I do? It's like, no, you got to make it up. And then a couple of folks like, well, I don't know if I can. It's like, you're a songwriter. It's the frame of the house is already there, man. All you got to do is all you got to do is put a window in, and so that's really where that started. I've had so many people get up and sing a verse. I've had Coach Joe Avazano, the special teams coach for the Cowboys, who passed a few years ago. I brought him up. He was such a fan, and he helped get our record deal. And he, I pulled him on stage one time, and his son Tony, who I still do work with here in Texas, and He goes, I can't believe you had my old man just sang a song about weed with you. 24,000. It was our 24,000 capacity crowd that night. It was a long time ago.
Funny. Holy shit!
But yeah, it's just one of those things. And now I'll bring people up still. They usually end up singing a verse that's already established.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say the younger crowd, but the younger crowd. I got Cole Wetzel up one night to do it. And he did a verse that I'd already sang. And I had at the end of the night, I had to tell him, I was like, you have to make up your own shit, dude. But that's been a good. Yeah. I told him, I said, man, just about the time everybody stops talking about is there going to be a reunion, you got to write that damn song.
Yeah, that's funny.
But with all respect, I really appreciate him doing that too, and that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. You get to have dinner with one historical figure. Who would you like to have dinner with? Who would you like to have dinner with, and what would you have?
Oh, man, that is an awesome question. One historical figure. I'm going to stay away from music.
Okay.
Henry Ford.
Really?
Interesting. And I'd have a steak with Henry Ford. That's pretty American.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's a very American.
That's very American.
Yeah. I've always respected Henry Ford.
Definitely. That's cool.
We're going to have to call you Cody America.
Man, I tell you what. No. I've been hearing it my whole life. My PE coach used to call me Marco Mexico. I played in Red Deer. I played in Red Deer, Canada.
No way.
10 years ago, and I did an interview.
Right?
Huh?
Is that Alberta?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, that's Alberta.
Red Deer's not far from me.
Yeah.
And I did an interview with this sweet little old lady. I could tell she was old. And I'm from Yukon, Oklahoma. Canadian County, Oklahoma.
That's Canadian province, like a state.
Yeah. So I'm from Canadian County, Oklahoma, with the Canadian River. My last name's Canada, and the town I lived in was Yukon. And I was like, this is going to be a nightmare interview. And it was. And she asked me 20 times, when did you move to Oklahoma from Canada? I was like, oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
I knew my first time playing in Canada was going to be, there's going to be many questions.
Yes. I was actually, I kind of blew it, but my plan was when we came into the episode, I was going to introduce you as my fellow Canadian, but I kind of forgot about it. And now it's weird, but
it's funny. Like even today, like, I mean, it's been 11 years since Cross Canadian Ragweed. And even today, someone will be like, well, someone will be talking about Canadian music and they'll be like, oh, Cross Canadian Ragweed. Oklahoma. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
His name, dude.
I've done a few shows with Canadian acts too. And they're like, where are you from? We've never heard of you guys. I'm like, here we go again.
Here we go again. It's next one, Mike. Yeah. We got 2 more.
Now, I know you wouldn't probably ever allow this, but if there was a movie made about you, who would you pick to play you as an actor?
Oh, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That would be awesome.
I don't know. Let's say Colin Farrell, because when I was in Ireland, I had to convince a lot of people that I was not him.
Really?
It's the eyebrows.
It's the eyebrows.
It's the eyebrows.
Absolutely. No, I see it now. Good point.
We'll
have to make a meme of your face on Colin Farrell's body.
Well, I had the I had the beard, the mustache thing, and he had the same thing. But yeah, I was in a bar in Ireland, and this English girl come up, and she goes, "Oh my God, Colin Farrell! I want to take a picture." I was like, "I'm not," and I'd been asked like 20 times that night. It's like, "I'm not Colin Farrell." She goes,
"Oh my God,
Colin, that is no way to treat your fans. Just take a picture." It's like, all right, I'll go with it.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I am Colin Farrell.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
You're right. I am him.
If you could busk anywhere in the world, where would you busk?
Busk?
Yeah.
Explain busk again. I'm missing this word.
If you could play for money on the street, like just wherever, like anywhere.
Oh, okay. New York. I love New York City. I miss it.
Interesting.
I don't know
I've
if
never
I've
been. Seems scary.
It's stressful.
No, well, I can see the stressful part, but no, it's not scary. It's not scary at all. When we play there, I do sound check and I take off and I'll walk as far as I can, and then take a cab back to the bus for showtime. I love it.
Cool. That's interesting.
Mike, last one.
I'm curious if you're stuck on a deserted island, and all you have is a record player that never runs out of batteries somehow. What you get one album that it plays, and that's all you get to listen to. What album would you pick?
I've always said that my number one deserted island record, "Train a Comin'" by Steve Earle, the acoustic record that came out in the mid '90s. I absolutely love that record, and I feel like it had a lot to do with carving who I am as a musician.
Awesome.
What's your favorite flavor of chicken wings? This is the last one.
Oh, well, I'm an older fella these days, so it has to be not hot.
Hey man, I take heartburn pills and I'm 24, so
okay.
I'm ahead of my time.
That's where I'm at. Some days I can't even drink water without getting heartburn. Let's go lemon pepper. That's very
Yay. Okay.
Dry rub then? Lemon pepper
dry.
rub?
Yes, dry. Yeah. I'm even a dry rub guy when it comes to ribs. I don't like messy. I don't like it messy.
Same. Yeah. I prefer the dry rub.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely.
Sometimes
I'm
it's nice to just like put on a bib and just go to town though.
Now I'll do that with some all-you-can-eat crab oil or something. I'll do that.
Ooh, yeah.
Interesting.
And I'm a mustache guy, so when I dig in to messy foods like that, 3 hours later it's like, man, that meal was good, and I just lick my mustache and it's like, yeah, that's what it tasted like. Yeah.
Flavor saver.
Yeah, there you go.
Flavor saver. Well, shoot, man, you made it through the rapid fires.
Yeah, that's all we got. For
I don't know if you need to run or if you want to stick around and answer another question or two.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm good. We have a couple of things to do today, but I am not in a hurry. I mean, my oldest boy is still asleep. So.
All right. Well, let me ask you this then. Like, another thing, like, kind of going back to like, and you got to forgive me too, because like I said, I'm 24, so like a lot of my knowledge of like the Red Dirt like history came from reading that book here last year, and like I said, it just gave me a connection to it and like a whole different light kind of. But it seems like it's such a family vibe amongst like all of this Indian and a connection from like you said, it's like say the Red Dirt Rangers and the Great Divide, and you got like Ragweed, Turnpike. Like it just seems like there's such like a chain of one influence the next generation.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, and that's so cool to me. And I mean, I believe it exists in other scenes too. Like when you talk about Kentucky or Texas, even like just Texas in itself. I'm sure that exists too, but just the way it was laid out for me in that book and like understanding that really like I said, it's just cool to me. And it did having such an influence, first of all, from those artists, and like it seems like there's a really like accessible scene, especially like back in those days. Like it was easier maybe, or easy, I guess, for you to find like different artists to jam with, or like a place to go play a show or whatever it may be, just because you were so already connected within that community with those other artists.
The whole Stillwater thing, out at the farm in Stillwater, that was my introduction to the camaraderie of this business. Because I mean, I think I was 17, maybe. I mean, if I was 16 or 17, and I went out there, and it really was like, in the movies when the the doors open, and then there's a whole other world that you haven't seen, you know. And I was so isolated, and I didn't know anybody. I mean, Jeremy Plato, you know, he was my dude, you know, and he was the only guy that I really knew playing music, and we had such, you know, so many diverse influences together. That's why him and I worked well together. And but when the doors opened up there at the farm, you know, and I realized that these people are teaching the younger generation that you have to support each other and you have to lift each other up. And we can't make a difference in a scene of music if we don't stick together. And, you know, I'd went to Florida a long time ago with Shooter. And this is when Shooter was opening for us. So it was in his the beginning of his solo days. And this one guy said, you guys all get along down there. Are you guys really friends in Oklahoma? Like, yeah. He looked at me so strange. And I said, are you guys not friends here? He goes, no, man, this is a competition. He goes, we're all trying to be better than the next. It's like, when you're not gonna do it. I mean, you have to support each other. It's just, I mean, if I guarantee you, Jason Boland wouldn't have a crowd behind him if I didn't support him, and I guarantee I wouldn't have a crowd behind me if you know, vice versa. You know it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We do this stuff together, and when people see that, they love it. They love camaraderie. You know, and
yes,
it was that's what we wanted to bring to Texas when we came down here, and I realized that there's already people that were friends and everything, but Pat Green said there was one year we couldn't make one of the big Texas festivals in the early 2000s. And it seemed like there was one every weekend. And it was always the same lineup. And it's still kind of going on. Like the same lineup. It's like Randy Rogers, Kevin Fowler, Pat Green, us. You know, it's like the same lineup all the time. But it's still fun. You know, it's not old. It's not old at all. And
yeah.
But we didn't make one time. And Pat said, it was really weird without you guys here because you guys are the glue that holds everybody together. And it's like, well, I appreciate that compliment. But that's how we were taught. You know, we were taught that we're all together in this. And Kevin Fowler, that one night, you know, he said, you guys are really good about including everybody and letting everybody sing your songs. It's like, well, man, think about it. Without any kind of obstruction, we've probably got 80 years on this rock, and let's make it worth it. You know, there's going to be people that piss you off. There's going to be people that are friends and you have to distance yourself. You know, unfortunately, like the half of Ragweed, you know, we'll never be pals again. We had a good time. We had a good run, you know, and but we continue to move on and encourage other people. And I don't know. I mean, when we first came to Texas, it was the Texas music scene. And I'll never forget being on The Wolf talking with Justin Frizzell, and he goes, well, what do y'all call your music in Oklahoma? It's like, well, I've been told that it's red dirt. And I don't even know what that means. I said, I was told that it was, the music is as pure as the dirt is red. So we call it red dirt. And then now, I mean, there's a red dirt hat company. There's a red dirt barbecue sauce. Like, it goes everywhere, you know, and that's cool. That's really awesome to see just a little group of people, not just Ragweed, but a group of musicians from Stillwater, Oklahoma, did something that grew outward. You know, it was like a lower, I don't want to put us up there with those guys, but it's like a lower version of the Seattle scene. You know, I mean, those people supported each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, maybe Kurt Cobain wasn't so supportive. He hated everything, but he still is in that. I mean, you think about Pearl Jam, you think about Nirvana, you think about Soundgarden, you think about Nirvana. You know, I mean, we're all a part of this scene together, and I think that that's the way it should be. I hate seeing it when people don't get along, and there's people I don't get along with, but what I usually do is just walk away and go hang out with somebody that I do get along with.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered the question or not. I'm sorry.
It wasn't really a question. I was just kind of floating it out there because I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah, exactly. Just the fact that, you know, like you said, that and that's what causes, like I said, that kind of chain of connection is the fact that, you know, you had folks older, you know, like Mike McClure and the Great Divide who supported you when you were young and kind of showed you the ropes, brought you, you talked about the farm, like that type of thing. And then again, obviously, like there's ones that are younger than you, like Turnpike, that type of thing that.
Yeah. Reed Southall. And
Reed Southall.
He's Oklahoma City, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about it is just because y'all are like you get along. It's a community, and it's.
I remember the first time that I felt elder.
Ryan White
I was with
Wales.
We were on tour with Turnpike, and I said I didn't know Evan played harmonica. I was like, hey, why don't you get up and play Brooklyn Kid with me? He goes, are you shitting me? I was like,
is there a video of this?
I hope so. And I said, no, I'm not shitting you. Like, you guys are taking Oklahoma music further once again. This is what we're supposed to do, pass the torch. And he said, I learned how to play harmonica because of that song. It's like, oh my God, I'm old. But that's really awesome, because they're one of those bands that will go down in history as a forerunner in the Oklahoma Americana scene, which you say Americana and it bunches so many different genres into it.
Yeah.
But that's great. That's what we need. Diversity in music, The Flaming Lips are from Oklahoma City. Their music's pretty soulful when you get down to it, and people ask me, are they Red Dirt? It's like, in my mind, they are. I think Vince Gill is. Vince Gill's pretty country, poppy country, but
Poppy's not. I don't know about poppy.
There's a couple.
There's a couple. I mean, he's like a mainstream. He's in that circuit, so.
Yeah,
but
and now
Jesus.
Vince, when you see him, he's so humble, down to earth, and I don't know. That's another thing, Vince Gill. Back when we first started, there were people pushing us in his direction, like, listen. It's like, leave him alone. Let him hear it. And then I played an acoustic show with him one night. And he looked over at me and he goes, take it. His exact words were, take it, Okie, when it came to the lead part. And like, I'm sitting next to Vince Gill. It's like one of the best guitar players country music's ever had. And he's like, take it, Okie. He's like, okay, see, that's why I tell everybody to shut up. Let the guy see it. Let the guy feel it, and he supports us, and every time I do get a chance to catch him out in Nashville when we used to travel, it's always pick up where you left off, and that's what we're supposed to do in this scene, man, is lift each other up and support each other. And one of my favorite things is when somebody has a record come out, and watching everybody in the scene promote, like this Friday, William Clark Green's got a record coming out. So everybody get behind him and push it. And that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah,
definitely.
Kind of related, not really, that Evan Felker and you, Brooklyn Kid, I'm not seeing any videos popping up immediately. I'll have to dig deeper. But if you wake up one day with a case of the fuck arounds and like you're just like, okay, Cody, let's break the internet today, and you remake that and put it, the internet would shatter.
I tell you, if I can nail that dude down and get him to do it, I'd do it. He is off the grid.
Yep.
We have spies though. We have spies looking out, and he's in good shape. That's bad.
Oh, the whole episode, the dog's running around and not.
I know.
He was being such a good boy.
Oh.
She's very protective of me.
Yeah, maybe that's our cue to wrap it up.
Yeah.
For almost an hour and a half, but shit. Thanks so much for doing this, Cody. It's honestly
man. I hope
it's an honor. It's an honor to sit here and talk to you.
It's an honor. Yeah.
Well, it's feelings mutual. I hope we answered. I hope I answered them right, and hope we got to everything we needed to get to.
No, it's great. It
was a blast.
Yeah, like I said, it's really cool to talk to you, and I know everybody out there listening will be really happy to hear from you. And it's great. Let's do it again. Hopefully, next time we do it, we can do it in person. So
you got it.
But yeah, anyway, once again, man, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you guys.
Really appreciate you doing it. And like I said, let's do it again. Hopefully next time it's in person. We're going to close things out today with Hard as It Seems.
Awesome.
We talked a lot about it earlier. I don't know if you have any other final comments on that tune or anything like that, but you can plug the social medias and where you want to steer everybody to go buy a record and do all that great stuff now if you want. And
yeah, I mean, when it comes to physical copies, I don't have anything right now. My latest was 3, which came out 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. But everything's digital right now. Just Cody Canada Facebook, at Departed Music. The new song came out a couple days ago, Shut Up and Sing. And I'm anxiously awaiting people to beat down my doors with torches and angry mobs and pitchforks. I live in Texas. Remember that?
Right.
But yeah, that's really about it. The Years, the Ragweed tribute is out the 22nd of January. I will try to make it quick, but the Hard as It Seems is a Mike McClure, Scott Evans song that I've been searching for 25 years. And I've done so many shows with McClure and several with Scott. And McClure, he's been, I think he's 500 and something days sober now. And he had to get sober because he wanted to live, but he couldn't really handle it a lot of the times. But I'm really proud of that dude for doing that. Anyway, I'd asked him about Hard as It Seems. I said, remember when you guys used to sing that Hard as It Seems song back at the farm, like in the mid 90s? He goes, wow. I don't remember it. I was like, you wrote it. He goes, no, I didn't. I was like, dude, do I really know more than you know inside your own noggin? And he goes, I think you're thinking of somebody else. I was like, Mike, in my mind, I'm watching you and Scott Evans, and in between you is a campfire, and you're singing the song to each other because you guys were so proud of this song. He's like, wow, man, I don't. So I saw Scott back in January of last year up in Tulsa, and I said, hey, McClure's sober now, and he still doesn't remember. But do you remember a song y'all wrote called Hard as It Seems? And he just banged into it. I was like, whoa, hang on. Before you do that, I'm going to record this. So I hit record on my phone, and I said, can you send me the lyrics? I'd like to record it. And he said, yeah, man. He goes, I play that song every now and then, but it was kind of lost. I was like, well, it wasn't lost to me. I remember the chorus, but I don't remember the verses. And, within a week or so, we had that song recorded and out to the folks. But awesome. Man, I've been chasing that song for 25 years.
And that's so cool.
And once I sent it to McClure, and he went, I still don't remember it. It's like, well, you did good, old man. It's a really good song.
That's so cool. That's so cool. It's a hell of a song, and that makes it about 100 times better.
Yeah,
knowing the story behind it.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Well, you dudes stay safe, and
again, can't thank you enough.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, ditto, man. Thank you guys, and anytime, please reach out to my wife.
You bet.
The only person I have on the outside doing anything for us is a booking agent, and Shannon manages everything else, and we just kind of do it in house. So just reach out to her, and I appreciate you letting me push. That I had some recording stuff I had to do last night that I completely forgot about.
Don't sweat it.
Don't sweat it, man.
So thank you guys.
Just fine, man. Glad to
have
you.
Thanks to everybody out there listening. We appreciate you tuning in. Once again, thanks to Cody, and for Cody, Mike, and myself. Yeah, thanks for listening. This is Hard as It Seems. Catch you next time.